project managed software lifecycle. We will be discussing on all those things. So thank you, Rizwan. As he has mentioned, Rizwan, he is a group leader of this community, and myself, I'm Asif Anwar, and I'm PM certified in Scrum Foundation and Agile. Today we will be discussing, if you could see my screen, anyone who can tell me if they are able to see my screen, which is index page.
Yes, I can see Asif.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, start from here. The first thing first is what is project management and why. So once we say what is project management, then we need to have a project management. And during development, what issues we face during this, and what could be dimension of project management. Number four, and project manager's responsibilities, PM life cycle in software industry, project management frameworks, and what could be the goal of project management, that we will be discussing. I should not say we should be discussing, since it's a first presentation, first community event. So we will be giving a high level. We will be touching on those index, and then as we move with our next event, we will be discussing more and more stuff. We will go more in depth detail on those topics in our coming events. So now, what is project management? So haven't we said this? So as any project, or as anything that needs to be initiated from scratch, needs a planning. Obviously, you should have anything, whether it's a industry, whether it's a construction, whether it's a software, anything that needs a planning from scratch till implementation requires a depth of planning. So organizing things and bringing up resources, completing a specific task from scratch till implementation, using different techniques and methodologies. We say a development or using a project life cycle. I will be discussing this more thing in next slides. So project management is a discipline of planning, organizing, and managing the successful completion of project objectives. So finds your end-to-end development of any product, services, or anything which is related to task. So why we use project management basically now, as I said earlier, now it is very essential. It gives very vital reason across different industries or sectors why we need to have a project management within our industries. So why? The first thing first, we need to achieve goals. Obviously, once we need to develop a product or service, obviously the end result is our goal. So we need to achieve a goal. So goal achievement in project management, that's basically a main objective. And how we do it, obviously by we do planning, we execute that, we adopt different methodologies that I will in after the next 5 minutes. And obviously, so once we need those things, we need to have things moving effectively and with efficiency. Let's say if you are going to a project which is of 4 months, a project for example, and if you are not adhering that within 4 months and you're consuming more times, that means you are inefficient, you're lacking somewhere. That could be a scope creep, it could be requirement creeps, it could be your resources, and so on. So that's basically your inefficiency or effectiveness. So so why project management? Obviously goal achievement, efficiency, and effectiveness. So while we talk there, we also talk about risk management, communication. Now, since we say, let's say we have started developing a project, not a project, a product or a service, let's say software. If we don't calculate its risks, now the risks that may include your issues, dependencies. Uh, it could be anything that could cause delaying your project. That's that's directly proportional to your risk management. So what PM does, PM effectively and with efficiency, they calculate what are the risk factors which are involved during your project implementation from scratch to implementation. Now that's risk management is entirely, that's a different, entirely it gives an importance, not only because it helps you deliver the project, but it helps to keep you moving things. If you meditate things on time, you address your issues, risks dependencies on time. So why project management? Obviously, so the risk management, we need to calculate those things as well. And the next point is improved communication. Now, I used to say communication is key to success. As a PM is responsible to engage all stakeholders. For example, cross-functional team. It could be your product owner. It could be your CEO. It could be your developer. It could be your QA people. It could be your design team. So they are responsible to make sure they are communicating things to everyone, to all team members, stakeholders, or whatever the party is. So that's very much crucial thing that we understand and we need to understand, and we need to communicate clear expectations. Once you are developing anything, you come across many conflicts or probably issues, and we can only resolve by communicating things. So that's very much crucial to have and should be very much aligned in once we do any development or product or service development. So that's the key to anything, improve communication. And and the next point is customer satisfaction. Obviously, why we do we what are we working for? Why are we working for? Obviously, for satisfaction. Whose satisfaction? And end user. It could be obviously it could be your product owner, it could be your customer, or anyone who is going to use that end product. So uh, PM basically they build a circle, they build up a trust and positive relationship among all cross-functional team to adhere your goal and achieve things. Now, why project management? As I said earlier, resource management. Now, adaptability to change, continuous improvement. So now, let's say if you're working on a project which is 1 year of span, resources working on a same project. So obviously, they are resource dependent. So now, once we say resource dependent, it includes your time, money, resources, manpower, other factors which involves during a completion of a process. Uh, that's what I say optimization. So we do a resource optimization during a development or achieving any project while working with those things. And once we say, obviously, if you are developing a project which is of 1 year span, you get to know many changes within within a product, within a service based, or you can call it within an environment. So you adhere many changes as well. It could be change of priority, change of technology, change of updation of your resources. It could be anything. So PM is adopt the changes as well while you work with a project management stuff. Okay, what else? Continuous improvement. Obviously, in our software industry, I believe you people who are sitting here listening to me, they belong to software industry. You must be aware of that. Like once we deliver, we do analysis. What we worked in past, what went well, and how we can improve in upcoming projects or continue. So continuous improvement is one part of why project management. The second last point, strategic alignment and competitive advantage. Now, if you see what we mean here by strategy alignment is we contribute to organization from one to one and one to many. So keeping our strategies, our vision, things aligned with our company's vision, company's cross-functional. Since we said it's a cross-functional thing, so we keep things moving and we see if we are aligned with the trends, with the technologies, the things we do, we build for our company or for the community. So strategically, we are aligned with those contributions. Uh, and the last point, competitive advantage. Obviously, now this is the important point. Everyone wants to remain to be top of everything. So if you are having a good project management, you will take care of you being on the edge. You deliver things on time. your budget is on time, you are putting things in cost effective way, your customer is happy, end of the day you are on time, your delivery is good, everyone is happy. So we see as a PM that we are entering we are on the edge. So that's basically competitive advantage that we see at the end of the day. Uh, Now, the summary. Now, as a project management, it's a crucial discipline that helps organizations to achieve their objective, improve efficiency, manage risk, and adapt to change. It provides a structured framework for planning and executing project contributor to overall organized organizational success. Now, that's a summary. What we have discussed in previous slides is basically what we do from scratch till implementation. We manage resources, communication, risks, change, competitive advantages. We see on the whole the success level of our product or services that we are meant to achieve. So that's a basically summary. Uh, in other words, if I include project management involves in every sort of our daily lives, and that requires a planning. And if you are working professionally for something which you need to deliver to someone, obviously that requires a more one step ahead. And if it involves a cost, obviously you have to be very much calculated on resourcing and time and estimates, which is directly proportional to your delivery. All right, let's move to next. Okay, so now this is an important point. What issues we faced during software management? Many of you will agree with me since I believe you people are work for an IT company, and many of you are you people go from those things one after another in your professional field. You have seen those things, which I'm going to discuss in a while. The first thing is scope creep. Now, what is that basically? So let's say if your scope is not clear, if it's not approved, if there are a lot of dependencies, if your requirements are not clear, obviously you will be changing your requirements. You are not aware of what you are going to build, and end of the day you will be ending up spending more time, more cost, more reworks and reworks, and end of the day you will be standing nowhere. So let's say if you were meant to complete a project which it was of span of 6 months, and your documentation is not clear. Now here project artifacts, they keep a vital role maintaining those things. Now project artifacts, I mean by a documentation which you use for your during from scratch till implementation of project. It includes your architecture design, it includes your RFQs, includes your rates, could include your solution design, it could include your resource management documentation, it could include your project team. So and it could include your time that you're going to spend plus the cost. So if your project artifacts are up to date and you have planned all those things, you are clear on your scope or you have the requirements, you are good. If not, obviously, uh, scope creep is one challenge, and unclear requirements that could definitely lead you to many reworks, many misunderstandings, and it could cause you delays in your delivery. So that's the big challenge that we face in software industry. Now, adequate planning that I have already discussed, that planning, if we fail to meet our uh, our business requirement that we meant to achieve, and it's not updated, it's not clear to us, it's a basically lack of planning. As we discussed 5 minutes ago, communication, I said like communication is key to success. If you have, let's say you are good in with your planning, your project artifacts are up to mark, you have done your homework, you have planned it well, everything, then now comes a project kickoff. But if there is poor coordination between the teams, between cross functional team, you will end up nowhere. It will lead a and obviously that will lead to your misunderstanding. So pure communication, it should not happen within team members, stakeholders, or cross-functional team. So That's the key of success. Good communication. The next one, lack of stakeholder. Now, the last point, what you see in my slide, now that's very much important as well. So let's say you are developing a project, but your stakeholder, sorry, stakeholder could be anyone, whether they could be your product owner. Now, product owner, I mean from here is for whom you are doing this job. It could be your customer. It could be your for the CEO or for anyone who has given you a job to do. It could be stakeholders, could be anyone from within the company or from your out of the company. So their engagement and involvement can result into a clear expectations, confidence, and it will gives a more collaborative environment, collaboration. It gives a high value once you engage all stakeholders. So so that's a basic that's very important point to engage all stakeholders once the project is rolling or in a process, in rolling and after development as well and deployment as well. So if that's not involved, obviously that results to that can result to a lack of confidence or lack of communication. That could include that could be a one part of your expectations which are not meeting. So having a good communication level with all others, that very much necessary at this point as well. All right. So um, now the next thing is quality assurance, resource constraint, and technology challenges. Now I'm sure in my list we do have QA people sitting with us, and once a product or project or service-based project is developed, providing them a quality work is very much essential. We lack those things. So having a good quality checks, quality identify quality constraint, and raising up with defects, that's very much important. If we lack those things, obviously by end of the day, customer is not satisfied. We won't be as satisfied with the success of project. So that's the issue we face: quality assurance issues, resource constraint. Now we have already discussed resource constraint a while ago. If let's say if you are adhering a project which is of 6 months or 1 year and many resources are involved. Now resource means cost, the people they are working. It could be your designer, developer, it could be your QA, it could be your stakeholder, whatsoever. If they have limitations on your project development, that can compromise your deliverability. So identifying those things, that's very much necessary. So resource constraint is one part of that. And the last point in this slide is technology challenge. Now, as we are sitting here and saying we are talking about project management in Salesforce. So once we say Salesforce, it's not one thing that we have. We have many competitive CRMs involved as well. There are plenty of. I could not count on my fingers. So adopting a technology which can which possess and which has a user friendly I should say a leading thing in a market can decrease risks. So we need to adopt a technology challenge. Now it's not like now within Salesforce we used to have a lighting component which is obsolete now, and sorry, that's a obsolete, and now we do have a lighting one. So obviously that's a change in technology. So rapid changes in technology, that's very much important that we should understand, and cross-functional team and development team, they should adopt those things, and that obviously ends up having your risks. So technology challenge, yeah, that's one thing we faced in software project management. So last 4 points: integration challenge, project management issues, team collaboration, external dependencies. I have already explained those 4 points in my previous slide. I don't think I need to explain those things again in here, but we can just move ahead with those things. So the summary: what issues we face in software project, effective project management practices, clear communication, stakeholder management, QA, and monitoring change adaptability, staying on the edge. That could be one challenge for successful of project software project. So I'll take a pause in here and I'll ask any one of you if they want to raise anything other than this that could be a issue while we face doing a software project management. Any one of you?
Asif, I think we have a question in the chatter. What's the difference in project management and product management?
Okay, good question. Now, having to be said this, uh, let's take this. Let's take this question by end of the day, end of slide. What do you think? Mm, But uh, but anyway, now project management and product management. Now, if we project management, that could be your service based project management. It's like you are not aware what you need to do, what you need to be developed. You are not aware of your requirements. They are based on your customization. That are more on service side. So basically, we call that a project management, and we do have product and program management as well. So product is specifically related to you are clear on your objective. You know what to build. You have your own thing that you need to develop in terms of product that you want to introduce to your market. But in project management, you keep on servicing more. You're focused on servicing thing. I hope I have answered your question, Rizwan. Anything else that you want till now that we have discussed? Any question from here?
I think all good.
All right. So now, fourth point is dimension of project management. So can you see a image on right hand side which says scope, cost, and time?
Yeah, I can see.
Now this is very interesting part: scope, time, and cost. So cost, your scope is directly proportional to your time and cost. So let's say if you have a clear scope, you know what to do, you have the answers, what should be included, and you have decided time and cost, you keep revolving those things. So this is within these three dimension, a project management moving keeps revolving, and that's the basically a pillars you can say: scope, time, cost, and then quality assurance, quality work. Uh, the thing is project management manager's responsibility. Are you able to see my mouse?
Yes, I can see.
Okay. All right. So the first thing first, if you could see management, they are not parallel. They are not aligned with those things. I mean, they are random topics which are in circle. So they don't have relationship from one after another. So just look into scope management. The first thing, schedule and cost management, quality management, source management, communication, stake management, risk management, procurement, and relation. This is what we discussed in previous. Now, let's go more deeper. I think this one, your idea is good to have a. I was thinking to have a question by end of the presentation. Do you guys have any more questions before I will proceed?
No, Asif, no question in the chatter. You can continue and we can take a look at the end of session.
All right. So let's have a deeper look. A project management, project PM's responsibility within a Salesforce, or we can say within a software company. We said uh, before that. Let me take you to another slide first. Uh, you see this one. The first one says analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, and support. Just keep this slide in your mind. Analysis, design. Before analysis, there is an initialization. So analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, and support. Keep this one in your mind. Let's say initialization. So As you are aware, you guys, you are working for a software company, I'm sure, and you have been involved in different segments during a development. And some people, they join primarily from requirement gathering, some they join within development, and some join during the testing and UAT and so on. So what happens in here is, so PM, they are involved in industry, in a development, or from, I should say, scratch till implementation. The first thing first come initialization. The first point is define project purpose, objective, and feasibility. Identify stakeholder and establish communication channel. Develop a charter outlining project scope, goals, and constraints. Obtain approval from, or approval or authorized to proceed. So now this is initialization. So let's say there is one got a project he has raised, and as a PM or as a BA or as a consultant, as a team, what is what kind of initiative we take? We'll identify purpose. What is the purpose? What is the objective? And what could be the feasibility of Rizwan's that he wants to achieve? And we do a sort of documentation, we do sort of brainstorming, we do a discovery session within initialization. That could be initial session. And initially we define what could stakeholders and establish communication channel. Now communication channel, it could be on very initial level. We need to do identify who is approving authority. Let's say Rizwan has given me a scope of work, but he's not approving authority. He has introduced me to someone else, someone, let's say a peer or a probably his boss. So who be approving authority? So we need to establish a clear understanding, a clear communication channel in order that we don't miss out anything. We are communicated what is supposed to be achieved rather than going on circle. So we need to identify stakeholders and then establish communication channels. Develop a project charter obtaining the outline. Now, let's say Rizwan has given me his problem statements. He said like, I have a portal which has a different kind of issues and this, that, and that. So I'm sure you guys have seen a project charter. That's basically a project art, part of project. It's a document which outlines the problem statement for of existing project or existing portal, whatever you call it. And we defined goals we need to achieve and constraints we need to achieve. Probably like I said, 2 or 3 pages document project charter. And then once we feel this is what we need to achieve, we know approval or how to proceed. Initially, we as a part of PM, we do initialization. Okay, so let you have done your initialization plan, initialization part. Next, plan. Now, let's say you want to develop a Salesforce portal. You got to know the problem statements. You got to know what needs to be achieved. What's your goal? Now, next you will define budget. You will schedule. You will define teams they are working on. You will define functionalities that you need to work on. You will define work packages. You will plan your milestones, your targets, your dates, the time to meet, who is going to work on what. You're going to allocate those resources. You're going to plan your risks. So there could be many planning stuff that you do after initialization. So that's the planning phase. You have planned one, plan L. What's next? Execution. Obviously, you will gather your all stakeholders, cross-functional team, your resources, and uh, you will take measures how we are going to execute a project. So let's say I'll walk through quickly I'll recap. All right, to walk through quickly. So let's say a PM or a project team, they do their initialization, they define their objectives, their feasibility, they identify who are the stakeholders, and they set up a project charter. The next thing is to plan how are you going to tackle that project. stuff you are going to develop. So obviously that includes your budgeting, your resource management. You to break down your things into small, tiny parts. We call it WBS, work packages. We set up a milestone. We set up the deadlines, estimates, everything. We plan out those things. Once the things are planned, we do the execution. We say, okay, who is going to do what? What project team is assigned with the responsibilities? What could be the communication channel with internally and externally? Internally within the team which are working, and externally with the stakeholders. So we address all relevant issues, and establish a clear understanding, clear objective, and start executing those things. And the fourth thing is monitoring and control. So I was saying monitoring and control, that's a major part. We need to see what type of, so during execution, it, it's important to track a progress. The things are going on track. The baseline, we are meeting the baseline. We are not spending more time than allocated, because that is directly dependent on your estimation. And obviously if that is prolonged, it will delay your project. So we need to track down how timely we are, effectively we are meeting those, with those tasks. So we will talk more about this, how to monitor and control. Once that's done, closing. Closing means your job is completed. You have achieved, you have closed, your project requirements are met. If your customer is happy, you are happy, and then you identify what were the lessons that you learned from your mistake in past, what went well, what needs to be improved, and what we need to continue. Communication we have already talked about a lot. Risk management we have already talked about. Now, can you see my screen in here? This is what, let's say, an initialization or analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, support. So I have identified here few of the stakeholders, few of the roles during these phases. So let's say analysis. During analysis, who is required? Product owner, CEO, CTO, or VP, PM, business analyst, Q engineer. During analysis, design, who is required? System architect, UX UI designer. Development, who is required? Front end development, back end developer, admin configure, so and so on. Testing, who is required? QA engineer, developer, consultant, or customer for the UAT. Deployment, who is required? Development engineer, DevOps. Support manager or QA engineer, and all coordination goes from scratch till end does the PM. Okay, so now going more into technicalities, project management framework. So what's project management framework? Now there are different types of methodologies, processes we use. As in Salesforce, you guys use logics, different types of variables or syntax or whatever. So as what could be a framework from for project management? Now I'm sure many of you have heard waterfall. Now waterfall is one kind of a process, I should say a methodology. It's as simpler. You get a task, and you proceed with the development, and you implement. That's that's very much in sequential format, sequential approach, that you keep on moving those things. Agile. Now I'm sure agile and agile. A lot of you people are they are working with agile process, with the agile methodology, and everyone has heard about this one. Let's say, what is the definition? Agile is an iterative and incremental framework that emphasizes flexibility and adaptability. It divides project into small functional increments called iteration, allowing frequent reassessment and adjustment. So now, I could speak on agile a lot, but I'll keep things on high level. Let's say you got a project which is of a 12 months, and you have divided that into different segments, or not segment, I should say milestones. And within that milestones, you know what to develop, or possibly you are not aware what to develop. So you limit that into you time you split that into time. Let's say 1 week, 2 week, or 3 week, or 4 week, let's say. And your development team, your cross-functional team, they keep on working, and by end of your timeline, you demo that to your stakeholder. They make changes, they may or they won't, it depends. And then you move from one milestone to another, to third and fourth. So you keep on changing things. You can adhere, you can entertain change request within this agile process. So keep in mind the difference between Waterfall and agile is in waterfall you cannot tackle you cannot cater. Now I'll speak on those agile process and stuff more into detail in our next session. Scrum, many of you have experienced this. Now we have Scrum ceremonies. Now what is Scrum basically? It's a obviously it's a framework to collaborate within the team and with the product owner as well. So Scrum, you there as I said there are 4 to 5 ceremonies, daily stand-ups, sprint planning, sprint review, retrospective. So that's Scrum basically. They are different. Now, if I go into more detail, one that would take much more of time. I have already taken a lot of time, so I'll proceed quickly so we can have more questions. If it's okay with you,
Yeah, sure, Asif.
thank you. All right. So Kanban. Now let's say now Kanban is another framework which gives you another methodology. Like let's say you guys have worked on support tickets. So that's basically you have your task to do. That's to do development, testing, and deploy. So that basically we use Kanban methodology in support ticketing services. That's a we can use in another kind of project style, but it depends project nature to nature. Apart from that, we have Prince, Lean, XP, and other different methodologies as well as a framework. So goals of management, we have already discussed those things eh, earlier. So I don't think. All right. What's next? So we'll have our next session on project management framework, as I said, on Agile, Scrum, Kanban, Lean, and that's going to happen next Saturday on 30th December. So, City, let's succeed together. And thank you, and I'm open for your questions.
Thank you, Asif. We have one question. Who is the right person to become a project manager?
Okay, so you have now project management, they require a certain skills, and anyone can become a project manager PM, but you need to take care that you have different traits and characteristics to possess a good project manager. The first thing first is adaptability of changes. Need to understand a hierarchy, have a good leadership qualities, have a good can have a good analytic and problem solving skills. Have they understand time, they understand risk managements, they have a skill set of costing and costing budget, doing those stuff. Technically, what they are working on, they should possess the knowledge of that as well. So there are different aspects. If anyone that feel that they have a strong skills that they can convey, they can deliver those things, they should step into project management. I hope I have answered your question, is one.
Thank you very much. The session was very informative, and we are looking forward for upcoming session related to project management. To everyone to join us. See you in the next event.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.